What's up, giggity gang? So as I posted earlier, I'm still sick. I got a lot of songwriting done today though, and after all of that, I'm incredibly tired and my head hurts. But I had this idea. I'm gonna read a bunch of scary stories right before I sleep. It's about 11 o'clock ish, and we're gonna go for it, and hopefully I get the shit scared out of me, but not literally though. My bed already stinks from the last time I shit it. Let's go. Okay, so I found a list that BuzzFeed made, and they have like a list of random scary stories they found online. But you know how BuzzFeed lists are, they're always really bad. So I'm just gonna check out a few of them, and then we'll probably move on because these look very short and just like not scary. So we'll see. This one's by u/akihiko_1351. So it's a Reddit story, I'm assuming. So this was around 2010. The internet was new to me, and video calls were the shit among my friends during those days. One day, one of my friends called me on Skype, and we spoke about stupid things that I can't even remember. Suddenly, my friend froze for a second, but the video wasn't interrupted. After some seconds, he asked, "Who's the person behind you?" I didn't turn to look because I thought that he was playing a lame-ass prank on me, as friends do. But I asked him to describe the person, and he said that it was a boy of around 10 to 12 years wearing a red t-shirt. He kept on asking me to look behind me, and I finally did. However, as expected, there was no one there. Okay, pal. It has been almost 10 years, and he still maintains that there was someone behind me. After a few days, I started feeling uneasy around the table that my computer was on. I would feel something rubbing my foot from beneath the table. Ew. Gross, you freak. It's a freaky demon boy. I would feel something rubbing my foot from beneath the table, but I thought of rats and tangled wires as the explanation for it. After a few weeks, my mother said that she had been noticing stuff move in the kitchen by themselves. I didn't believe her until one day I saw a glass move by itself. Oh my god. It was clinking like something was stuck inside it while it was upside down. However, I didn't think of it much. Dog, you aren't thinking of anything much. Think a little. After some days, I started to see some women in white around my bed at around 2 a.m. It could have been sleep paralysis. Once my bua, aunt, or aunt, if you're snooty, told me that something had also touched her feet beneath the computer table. What is with these ghosts massaging people's feet? That is so weird. Finally, my grandmother decided to cleanse the house, and I haven't noticed anything suspicious since then. I am not superstitious. Oh my god, I can't say that. I am not superstitious, but I saw what I saw. ... End quote. BuzzFeed, come on. These are the stories. These are the scariest stories you've read online. Shut up. This one's by that one Elizabeth with a Z. Most people spell the name Elizabeth with a Z, but I had a friend in grade school that spelled it with an S. Oh, my nose. It's so runny. Must be ghosts. Number 3. I was sitting in my living room one day and I heard something fall in the kitchen. I have an open floor plan, so I knew my cat wasn't there. I walked over and saw a cup that had just fallen on the floor for no reason. It didn't shake me too much. I just picked it up and put it back on the counter. That evening, I was again in the living room when a painting just fell off the wall. The nail was still firmly in the wall, and none of the other things hung on the wall fell, just that one. I was a bit freaked out at this point, so I said out loud, "You're scaring me. If you are trying to contact me, please do it another way." And nothing else weird happened. That is so boring. That's the boringest story I've ever heard. Here's the solution, okay? I know you already solved it, but here's the solution. Get better dishes and get better decorations. Obviously, the ghost doesn't like it, so that probably means that it's hideous. This one is about a cat. It's written by another anonymous person. My cat is a psychic, so is mine. One night, she woke me up by climbing onto my chest with one of my favorite necklaces, a gold chain that my best friend gave me for my sweet 16, dangling from her mouth. Confused, I scolded her for taking the necklace, put it back on my dresser, and went back to sleep. The next morning, my best friend called me to tell me she had been robbed. She'd come home before the burglar had a chance to steal anything except a gold necklace. I told her about my cat's odd behavior, and we were both spooked. Another night, I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I couldn't find my cat. I looked all around and eventually found my cat sitting stiffly on a box in the garage. She was hissing, her fur standing straight up. I tried to bring her to bed with me. She generally sleeps next to me, but she scratched me when I tried to pick her up. She never scratches me. I gave up and went to bed. Later in the night, I woke up when I heard the garage door open. I ran downstairs, freaking out. The garage door was closed, and there were no intruders. My cat was still there, hissing. There was no way she could have accidentally opened the garage, because the button to open it didn't work, so I could only open it from inside the car. It's like she knew what would happen and was protecting me. So why are you complaining? Obviously. Ooh, this one's long. I'll read this one. When I was 6 or 7, I kept having this reoccurring nightmare. It would start as a normal dream, and then whoever I was with, normally my parent or friends, would walk away, leaving me alone. A lot of what happened in the nightmares is fuzzy, but I remember this part very vividly. A doppelganger of whoever I was with would walk towards me. I knew it wasn't actually them because of the big creepy smile they would have on their face. Even writing this many years later, I still feel terror picturing the scene. They would slowly advance toward me, and I wouldn't be able to move. They would reach out toward me, and I would feel like I couldn't breathe. I would always wake up before they got to me, but I knew that if I stayed asleep a little longer, I would see who they really were. When I was too afraid to fall asleep one night, my dad, in his matter-of-fact way, told me to just wait it out and see who they really were. When I had the dream a couple days later, I didn't try to wake myself up like usual. You can wake yourself up on command? How do I learn to do that? Please tell me. I just waited to see who they were. I didn't resist, just let them reach towards me. I don't remember the next part, but both of my parents told me this story later when I was older. They both woke up at the same time around 1 a.m. with the urgent feeling they needed to check on me. When they went into my room, I was lying in the middle of the floor, dead asleep, with my mouth open like I was trying to scream. I felt hot when they picked me up, and when they took my temperature, I had a ridiculously high fever. They took me to the ER, and the nurse said if they hadn't brought me in, I might have had lasting damage or even died. Who you got in your dreams, dude? Satan? Is Satan in your dreams? Jealous. They said my fever was so high. Oh, right. Oh, no, that's a different sentence. They basically said the same exact thing. They said my fever was so high, if I hadn't gotten the medical treatment when I did, the heat might have begun to kill my cells. Who knows what state I would have been in by morning. They never figured out what caused it, and they wrote it off as some medical anomaly, sending me on my way. I haven't had the dream again since. I wish that was the scariest part of the story, but it's not. There's more? I'm just kidding. I saw the paragraphs. I know there was more. I'm just yanking your chain. I strangely managed to forget all about it until very recently. My great aunt has dementia, and so my whole family has been helping her clean out her house before she moves in with my aunt and uncle. I was talking to her one day, and she kept repeatedly asking me to grab the photo albums in the hole in the wall behind the horses. What? Repeatedly asking me to grab the photo albums in the hole in the wall behind the horses. I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but she seemed so distressed that I decided to follow her instructions. I went to her bedroom where there was a big painting of horses hanging on the wall. Oh, I thought like literal horses. I thought she dug a hole in the wall of the stable or something and then put a book in there. I was so confused. I checked behind it, and lo and behold, there were a couple photo albums. I brought them to her, and we started to look through them together. She started pointing at a picture of a teenage girl, calling her Catherine, and then pointing at me. My grandmother is long dead. She died during childbirth. As far as I can tell, she had no connection to any of this. And as far as I knew at the time, my great-aunt had no other siblings. But there they were, posing for a family picture with my great-grandfather and great-grandmother. My name is not Catherine, so I had to remind her who I was. I didn't think much of it because she often calls people by the wrong name. But then I looked at the picture. This girl looked exactly how I did at her age. I imagined she would have looked just like me at any age. I asked what happened to her, and for a minute it was like my great-aunt was fully back with me. She said she died of a fever, given to her by the smiling, shape-shifting devil who haunted her dreams. Call back. I tried to ask more questions, but all she said was that the devil got her. He likes the blonde ones. Okay. Ew, Satan. Why would you say that? He likes the blonde ones? The girl in the picture, Catherine, and I are the only natural blondes in my whole family. Unfortunately, my aunt had a stroke a couple of days later, which left her unable to speak, so I never got to ask her any more questions. But I still wonder about Catherine sometimes and what could have happened to me if my parents hadn't woken up that night. I like to think that it was the ghost of Catherine making sure no one else died from the dreams, but I'll never really know anything more about the dreams or Catherine, and I guess I'll have to live with that. See, that was better. Okay, here's another good one. Well, another long one. I assume the longer ones are better. If there's any haunted house I'd believe in, it's my dad's. I could write about the randomly closing/opening doors, the music boxes/stereos turning themselves on, etc., but I think the wildest is the shadows. Dark, semi-transparent silhouettes of people in and around the house. After moving back in with my dad when I turned 19, I had some very intense experiences. One that I hope to this day was simply sleep paralysis. One day, I woke up around 3 a.m., as it always seems to be for this stuff. 3 a.m., really? I'm tired of the 3 a.m. stuff, alright? It's just an hour. There's nothing special about it. I woke up around 3 a.m. to the sound of metal clanging in the front yard. So, of course, I got up to go look and noticed two problems when I got to the living room. One, the blinds were completely open. We keep them closed. And two, there was one of those shadows I used to see. I stood there for a minute, thinking I was still half asleep, and waiting for it to go away after I blinked. But it didn't go away, which creeped me out even more. I felt like it was watching me the whole time too, so I said, nope, valid, and went back to bed and tried not to think about it. A couple of days later, I fell asleep playing some games. Again, around 3 a.m., I woke up. This time, though, I couldn't breathe, move, or scream, and it felt like I was being held down. There was this feeling that started from my feet that felt as though I was being swallowed up and pulled away. It wasn't until that feeling got up to my throat that it all went away. I got up and ran to my room. Sleep paralysis, right? I don't know. Had to be, except later I was talking to my mom. Oh, I just realized. They're not asking, like, sleep paralysis, you know? Good old sleep paralysis. They're asking, sleep paralysis, right? Had to be. Anyways, okay. Except later I was talking to my mom about why I always awake past 3 a.m., and I mentioned that the house was creepy. She stopped and asked me if I'd ever seen any of the shadows. She then described, on her own, not only the ones I saw as a kid, but also the one I had just seen. I haven't slept in that room ever again. Valid, again. That is valid. That's the end of the BuzzFeed ones. I didn't read all of them. BuzzFeed, put together better lists, alright? Come on, those ones are lame. Those ones are lame. Oh, I didn't say who that one was by. Sorry. Let me check. It's by Anonymous. So it didn't freaking matter. Okay, so my fire alarm just went off. I don't know how. After reading one story, starting to read one story, I realized, hey, that's a pretty long ass story actually. So we're not gonna read that one. But I found this other one, dayatmika.org. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know. You can't even see it, but that's okay. And it's like a blog post by Zoe Marland. Zoea? How do you... Again, you can't see that. So, I'm not going to read the first one because I've already heard it. I've already heard it before, and it's kind of mid, not gonna lie. This one is called The Cabin. A hiker decided to go on a hike by himself, something he was not very used to. The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes engulfed his surroundings. He enjoyed being outdoors in the mountains. Nothing seemed strange to him. That was until he was making his way back to his car. He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough. 8 hours? What are you doing up there, dog? The sky was already getting dark, and he needed to get back fast. Sorry for the lighting change. I have a TV behind me. The sky was already getting dark, and he needed to get back fast. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize the trail back. He began to panic. Valid. Night had already taken over, and all he had was a flashlight and no clue on how to get back. He knew it was already too late and too dangerous to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night when, almost luckily enough, he stumbled across a broken-down cabin. Oh, how fantastic. That's totally not the plot of every horror movie ever where they find a strange cabin in the woods, and they stay in it, and then they get killed by a creepy creature. Don't go in the god... If you're in the forest at night, for some fucking reason, if you're going on an 8-hour hike again for some fucking reason, and you find a cabin, don't go into that cabin. You probably have much better luck with the bears and the coyotes than you do in that cabin. It was dark and seemed like no one had visited it in years. That's such a good sign. You're so smart to go in the fucking cabin. He knew it was the only place where he could rest until daylight, especially since his flashlight was running out of battery. He knocked on the door a few times, but no one answered, so he let himself in where, strangely enough, a perfect bed fitted for one person awaited him in the center. Totally not creepy at all. Wow, that's so great. He knew that if the owner came back, he could explain himself. He was sure that the owner wouldn't mind or was even probably dead. Where'd you get that from? So he went ahead and got himself comfortable in bed. As he tried to sleep, he couldn't ignore the collection of paintings around the room. Portraits of strange-looking people all peering at him, each wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. Not too long after his exhaustion from the hike got the best of him, and he was able to ignore the faces. The next morning, he got up early and was shocked to see that there were no paintings around the room, but windows. Ew! Ew, dude! They're watching you sleep? Ew, gross. That's not welcome in my household. I guess this wouldn't be my household because it's a broken down cabin in the woods. I'm going to keep referencing that fact. That is such a stupid thing to go in the creepy cabin in the woods. Anyways, besides all that, they were windows. Ew! It says, strange looking people all peering at him. Was it strange people? Or was it like a creature of some sort that looked like a person but wasn't really a person? What was it? Huh? I need details. Okay, this one is called the red wristband. A doctor was working at a hospital where the patients were tagged with colored bands. Green, alive, red, deceased. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital, and so he headed to the lift. The lift doors opened, and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital to stretch, especially those who have stayed long. The rule was to be back in their rooms before 10. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was heading to the basement too. This one's called the red wristband. I wonder what's wrong with her. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator, and in a panic, the doctor slammed the elevator button to close. It finally did, and the lift began to ascend back up, the doctor's heart pounding. Why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift, the woman stated, annoyed. Did you see his wrist? The doctor asked. It was red. He died last night. I would know because I did his surgery. The woman lifted her wrist. He saw red. She smiled. Like this one? They're teaming up on the doctors. He died last night. I would know because I did his surgery. Well, then you fucking suck at your job. Get better at surgery, bro. Get on my level. I could do any kind of surgery. Call me up. Just kidding. Just kidding. This one is called White with Red. Why is red the scary color? Red is a very pleasant color. Look, Raph's red. A man just moved into an apartment and heads to the receptionist to get his keys. The receptionist gave him the key with a smile, but warned him not to disturb the door with no number on his floor. He wondered why, but didn't bother to ask. He was too busy with his new apartment to care. After he finished unpacking, he began to get curious. He questioned why the receptionist would warn him of such things, and so he stepped out of his apartment to check the door with no number. He tried the doorknob first, but it was locked, so instead he got onto his knees and peeked through the keyhole. The apartment he was looking into was empty. His eyes scanned the whole place before stopping at a woman, standing face against a wall in the corner. He noticed her pale skin and long black hair before stepping back, suddenly feeling perverted in a way for invading someone else's privacy. He brushed it off, assuming she was someone that did not want to be disturbed. Pale skin and long black hair. Oh, if that isn't every horror movie creature ever. Also, hold on. He went up to the door with no number and he immediately went for the doorknob. How about you knock first? God, you should feel like a pervert, you pervert. The next day, he got more curious about the woman and eventually went back, straight away getting onto his knees. You creep! He peeked through the keyhole and saw all red. He assumed that the pale woman must have caught him peeking the last time and covered the hole with something red. He left the door alone and instead went down to the receptionist to ask her questions. The receptionist sighed and asked, "You looked through the keyhole, didn't you?" Oh, they're tired of their job. He admitted to it, and so she felt obliged to tell him the story. She told him that a couple used to live in that apartment a long time ago, but the husband went crazy and killed his wife. As husbands do. However, this couple wasn't normal. They had pale skin, black hair, and red eyes. So it was... Do you guys get it? Do you guys get it? Because he saw red, so it was red eye. Do you get it? Do you get the story? Do you get it? The Puppy in the Basement from this hauntedrooms.co.uk. What does co mean? Corporation? I don't know. Mommy told me never to go in the basement, but I wanted to see what was making that noise. It kind of sounded like a puppy, and I wanted to see the puppy, so I opened the basement door and tiptoed down a bit. Listen to your mom, dude. I didn't see a puppy, and then Mommy yanked me out of the basement and yelled at me. Mommy had never yelled at me before, and it made me sad, and I cried. Then Mommy told me never to go into the basement again, and she gave me a cookie. That made me feel better, so I didn't ask her why the boy in the basement was making noises like a puppy, or why he had no hands or feet. Okay. You, dude. That one's a little creepy. Ew. Gross, dude. Where did your hands and feet go? Are you playing hide and seek? This one's called Nun-chucks. Michelle Frolic Young. When my daughter was 2, I found her twirling paper towel tubes tied with twine in the air. I asked her what she was doing. She said she was practicing her nunchucks. That's cute. I was very confused as she'd have no way of knowing what they were. I asked her what she meant, and she said that Adam had told her how to make them and showed her each night how to use them. She went on to say that Adam told her to practice because she may need to know how to defend herself someday. I almost freaked out, but asked her what Adam looked like. She said he was tall, blonde, and had blue eyes, like every white person ever. She said, "Mommy, you know how he looks. You know him. He died of a headache." I had to leave the room. You see, 4 months before she was born, my tall, blonde, blue-eyed martial arts pro friend had died of a brain aneurysm at the age of 27. Rest in peace. She has not spoken of him since that day, so I'm not sure if I scared her with my reaction or if she had completed her lessons. She's probably finished. She's a fast learner. Ugh, it's this same story keeps popping up. Guys, we get it. It's the one where he's tucking his son into bed and his son's like, "Hey, check under the bed. I want to see if there's monsters down there." And then the dad checks under the bed and the son is like, "Dude, there's something on my bed." That one's lame. Everybody uses that one. Everybody. Stop using it. Called The Chair. Submitted via Reddit by Scoop Whoop. When my sister Betsy and I were kids, our family lived for a while in a charming old farmhouse. Jealous. We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. Jealous. But our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up, and on each of our nightstands we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the home's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair, which we kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch that chair forward across the room towards us. Sometimes she'd manage to move it all the way to the center of the room. Okay, sure, pal. We always felt sad putting it back against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse's original occupant, a widow. She'd murdered her 2 children by giving them each a cup of poisoned milk before bed. Then she hung herself. Nice. The article included a photo of the farmhouse's living room with a woman's body hanging from a beam. Beneath her, knocked over, was that old wooden chair placed exactly in the center of the room. It's funny, because before, when they were talking about leaving the cup on the nightstand, I was going to make a, oh, she's drugging you joke. Apparently she was. Apparently she was. Don't drink milk, because it might be poisoned by Mother. Just saying. This one's called The Ghost at Home. Last night, a friend rushed me out of the house to catch the opening act at a local bar's music night. After a few drinks, I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table we were sitting at, the bar, the bathrooms, and after no luck, I used my friend's phone to call mine. After 2 rings, someone answered, gave out a low, raspy giggle. Hee hee. Oh no, it's like, and hung up. They didn't answer again. I eventually gave it up as a lost cause and headed home. I found my phone laying on my nightstand right where I left it. Creepy. There was a fuckboy in your house. Oh, these are like 2-sentence horror stories. So we'll read some of these too. These ones are kind of lame, but you know, we'll go with it. I woke up to hear knocking on glass. At first I thought it was the window until I heard it come from the mirror again. Ooh, mirror horror stories. You guys don't understand how freaky mirrors are. You know how scary those are? I don't even like believe in ghosts or demons or any of that shit. That stuff's not real in my mind, but like mirrors still creep me out. There's this one YouTuber, Greg Bro Dude Man. He talked about this time he had like a full room length mirror right across from his bed, and so whenever he woke up, he would be staring at himself. I could not do that. That is so scary. You know, like when you wake up, at first you're kind of like all a little bit crazy. Yeah, I would see that and I'd be like, oh shit, there's a monster in my house. I couldn't do that. Mirrors are so creepy. I have a little one in my room. I have to hide it before I go to bed every night. And this one is, there's nothing like the laughter of a baby unless it's 1 a.m. and you're home alone. Dude, maybe a baby is robbing you. Watch out for baby robbers. Not people that rob babies, but babies that rob people. Okay, so this was just a silly video. I don't know if it'll be very enjoyable. But I I don't know what else I can do right now because of the state that I'm in. I am getting better, though to be fair, I have to use this. I have to use an inhaler now because of how badly pneumonia affected my lungs. So I'm so sorry that this is the video that came out. I posted those 2 like song videos. This is what you're getting right now because this is all I could do. But I thought it'd be fun too. So hopefully it was fun. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you got spooked along with me. If not, I'll feel really stupid, even though I didn't get spooked that much. It's so hard to scare me, dude. I'm so brave. I am so brave. Can you guys please tell me that I'm a brave big boy? A big brave boy down below. Like I said in the intro, I wrote a bunch of songs today, and they actually sound kind of good. I'm really proud of the songs that I've been writing recently. They're pretty good. Different melodies, different chord patterns, or chord progressions, and different strumming patterns. I'm branching out finally, and I'm so excited. If you like hearing me talk for some reason, go follow my Instagram. Because I talk a lot on Instagram stories. I also made a TikTok recently. I reinstalled TikTok and I post stuff on there sometimes. So go do that. And subscribe down below. Click the little subscribe button to become a citizen of Scarecrow City. And 1 like equals 1 demon protection spell that I will cast so that you don't get attacked by any demons at all. That's it. That's all I gotta say to you. Thank you for watching. This, I'm assuming, is probably a longer video, so thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Go drink some water. I'll see you soon. Hopefully, if I'm better. Okay. Have a lovely day, dear. One of these days, Robbie will actually look into the camera. But that day hasn't come yet. So right now you're gonna get me checking over here, and you're gonna get me looking at my face. This is intimidating anyways. You like this? Do you like getting stared at? I don't like it. So that day is not today. Oh, wrong way. Guys. Not the train, but can you hear that? That's so creepy. All the dogs like barking and howling after reading those scary stories. No, I'm scared, dude. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I'm gonna die tonight. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die if I don't post again. You know it was the dogs and possibly a baby robber.